Good morning, everybody. We've got a higher to sharply higher trade in the grain markets here early on Wednesday morning. It is 6:30 a.m. Central Time. March corn futures up 6 at 605.5. March soybeans up 12 3/4 at 1374. March Chicago wheat up 11 3/4 at 780.5. March Kansas City wheat up 13 cents at 785 3/4. March spring wheat up 18 cents at 925. If you guys are listening on the podcast, as always, appreciate it. Leave me a rating or review. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Help me to grow this channel. Like these videos. All of those things will help YouTube to spread these videos out. If you need some more additional assistance from me, guys, go to my website. It is www.standardgrain.com. Go to that website, click on Grain Marketing Plan in the upper right-hand corner. Check out my subscription service. I send a ton of information out to my subscribers every single business day. My morning email goes out at about 6:20 a.m. every business day, and that includes every overnight headline you need to be aware of, all my grain marketing recommendations, any relevant weather news. I also send out subscriber-only videos. Yesterday, I went through the corn acreage situation. I believe that the acreage situation, the acreage mix in the U.S. In 2022 is one of the biggest wild cards out there. We just don't have a clue how many corn acres we're going to plant. We don't have a clue how many soybean acres we're going to plant. So I went through a number of different scenarios, some of the lowball corn acreage estimates, some of the higher corn acreage estimates, and what they would mean for corn prices. And I tried to lay that out as well as I could. I'm going to do another video on soybeans with the same kind of idea here today. So if you're interested in this sort of stuff, guys, give that subscription deal a shot. It's a monthly deal. Cancel it at any time. No other fee, no other obligation. The White House has warned that Russia could launch an attack on Ukraine at any point. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki called the situation extremely dangerous. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has called on Russia to take a diplomatic and peaceful path as fears mount. Now, Russia, of course, says that it has no plans to invade, but tensions at the border remain very high. We've got an estimated 100,000 Russian troops that have been deployed near the Ukraine border. Yesterday, it was reported that Britain was sending assistance to Ukraine. So this conflict or the potential for conflict appears a little bit more likely here. Now, Russia, of course, even this morning was out with some news from their deputy foreign minister saying that the U.S. should not be concerned. They're calling these military drills. He also said that he does not believe there will be a military conflict in Europe, but a lot of indications here that some sort of conflict could take place. Again, why do we care about this? Well, the Black Sea is a huge export hub for wheat in particular. USDA projects that Russia and Ukraine will account for nearly 29% of all global wheat exports this year. Ukraine's projected to account for about 16% of all global corn exports. So if you have any sort of disruption to export activity in the Black Sea region, that's something that is very friendly, the wheat market and potentially the corn market also. And that may be part of the reason why we saw this sharp rally in the wheat yesterday. We saw the rally back late in the corn yesterday, and we've got some more follow through here this morning. The other thing that should be noted in regard to wheat is that U.S. wheat has become a little bit more competitive here. We've had a big, nasty slide in prices in the U.S. Market since we peaked back in November, and that's made U.S. wheat a little bit more competitive. So you've got some friendly stuff going on here, but this Russian-Ukraine deal may be the biggest issue here today. U.S. soybean crushing's record high in December. NOPA, that's the National Oilseed Processors Association, released monthly crush data for December yesterday. NOPA members crushed a whopping 186.4 million bushels of beans in December. That is the best for any month on record. That print eclipses the previous record of 185.3 from October of 2020. The number was slightly above trade expectations. USDA is projecting a record soybean crush this year, so this number in itself is not really a surprise, and actually we need to see continued strength in soybean crush if we're going to hit those targets. USDA says, or is projecting, that U.S. processors will crush 2.19 billion bushels of beans this year. That, again, would be the best on record if realized. Crush margins in the U.S. are fantastic. They've got all the incentive in the world to continue crushing soybeans here domestically at a very quick pace. More rain is headed for Argentina. Key corn and soybean areas there saw rain over the weekend and into the early part of this week. They're going to see some more rain here over the next 7 days. So Argentina is certainly looking better. Now, in regard to Brazil, you've got your problem areas of the south. Paraguay is also a problem, and those areas are not going to see nearly as much rainfall or relief. Some scattered rains in South Brazil, really not much at all for Paraguay. So you've got some different things going on in Brazil, but in general, I think that analysts still working with the idea that we're going to have a much lower than expected Brazilian soybean crop. Argentina could be a toss-up here given this rain event. This could change the situation, certainly. So you've got some kind of a mixed bag of items in regard to South American weather. Export inspections improved last week. Inspections, of course, are our best gauge of shipments. USDA reported 1.72 million metric tons of beans inspected for export. That was up sharply from the week prior, still below last year. Corn inspections good at 1.2. Wheat inspections improved down the week, 369,000. We're still way behind last year across the board for all three crops. Corn inspections for the marketing year accumulated are down 13% versus last year. Soybean inspections down 23%, wheat inspections down 18%. So we've got some issues here, certainly. A lot of this dates back to the hurricane, and that really disrupted export activity or shipments out of the U.S. Gulf back in September and really through a good chunk of October. We did have some flash sales yesterday. Nothing super impressive here. 239,000 metric tons of beans to Mexico for the current marketing year. This sale of grain sorghum is interesting. 126,000 to an unknown destination for the current marketing year. It'd certainly be a big positive if China came back to the market for U.S. grain sorghum. That would be a big deal potentially. The cattle market finished lower in the futures yesterday. There was some light cash cattle trade reported, 136 to 137. I believe the boxes were up 1 to 2. Cattle slaughter improved a little bit yesterday, 117,000, and that's where we really need to see some improvement. In the outside markets, the U.S. dollar is a little bit lower. The stock market's higher. The S&P is up 11. The Dow Jones is up 70. We've got the bonds down. Gold and silver mixed. Crude oil is up 71 cents in the March WTI at 85.56. Have a great day, guys. I will talk to you same time tomorrow.